Hi, Nicholas here. Welcome to the John Thomas Beginners Piano Series, exercise number 2. So we're taking all these exercises from the first grade book so you can get ready for your conservatorium exams. But we're learning in a different way. We're not going to be focusing on reading notation and playing and using it as a crutch. We're going to be learning to take that notation and convert it into chords and intervals over the chords. So we need to work out how we do that, right? So how do we choose the right chords for the piece? So the first thing we'll notice when we have a piece of music, so we're going to look at it and see which key signature it is, and does it come out of key in any places? Well, we can see there's no key signature indicators here. So it's in the key of C, right? So, and the first thing to note I've removed the finger numbers from here because we have all our fingers here. So that's here. We don't use finger numbers because they'll get mixed up with the intervals. So these are intervals. So we have to define our fingers with thumb, index, middle, ring, and pinky, right? Because we can't have 1, 1. Put 1 on interval 1, that would be crazy. So we have to choose these. What chords do we choose? Now, when we look at, say, let's just go through it and look at the first bar, okay? And the first thing to note is our hands don't move from this position, okay? All right, they just stay with this piece until we start to improvise, and then we can move around. We're going to learn a little bit near the end as an extra on how to improvise so you can impress your exam teacher. Because when you're playing this, they'll want you to play it straight. If you're going through the conservatorium system, they're going to get you to play it straight. But you could muck around with them later on and go, well, wouldn't this sound better a bit like this? And just and muck around a little bit. That'll be pretty funny. But all right, let's look at this. So C, we're going to choose C because what's the giveaway here of choosing the chord? We do have a choice of what we can use. We could use any of the chords within the key, right? Any of the diatonic chords we could choose. But the giveaway is one of the giveaways is the bass note. Now it's not always the best choice, right? Because it could be a slash chord like here, and we're going to talk about what a slash chord is. It's just a chord having a different bass note. So we've this last bar chosen C as the chord, but the note is the third, which is the E, right? Third interval. So if you're new here and you're having trouble with intervals, you can always go and look at my lesson number 1 and 2. Number 1 just tells you all the notes, how to find them. And lesson 2 talks about intervals. But we're going to have a little bit of a, discussion today about them. Now, I've included all the tonal distances for all the 12 intervals, right? So we have 12 intervals in Western music, and they all get reset depending on which note you start on, right? So if I started on F, it'll be 1, minus 2, 2, minus 3, 3, right? And it goes all the way up, okay? And I have them all listed here, and they have names. So I'm just introducing you to this idea now. But the Western major scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're in the key of C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. So that's easy to remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And the black notes will be the numbers referenced from the white note. So the minus 2, minus 3, plus 5, minus 7, right? So these are these notes. All right, so these numbers are only apply in the key of C, right? They get reset in new keys, but we're just in the key of C. So that's an introduction to look at it. The good news with this table is you don't need to remember these interval distances. I have videos on showing you how to find intervals in real time very fast. So you'll get to that point eventually. Right, this is only exercise number 2, so So don't stress out too much about it. So we've chosen C for the first one. So the pattern, so this whole piece is a pattern, right? Your fingers are doing the same thing. They're moving up, coming down. But we're keeping the hand where it is. Right? So we're keeping the hand where it is, but it lands, so let's have a look here. We'll start here. So we'll go 1 down there. So we're going 1, 2, 3, back to 1. Your pinky's on 1. Now we're on a new chord here. We're on G, right? But your hand's not moving, and your thumb is going to hit the 1 for the G, right? And if you have a look where we start, so our hand's not moving, right? We're starting with our index finger. We've got the fingers numbered there. So I'll highlight it actually to show you where we're at. If I highlight it like that, it'd probably be better. Maybe highlight the whole thing. So our index, so our hand doesn't move from this position, okay? Right. So our thumb, if you look at our thumb now, we've chosen the key G as our next key. The thumb is on the 1 of G, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the numbers get reset each time you move your hand to a new chord, right? And these are all the chords in the Western major scale, right? Just to show you them all. We just slide up, right? So there's the chord, and the character is all the rest of the notes that define the chord, and we define the name of the chord from the root note. That's the root note. That's a D minor, it's a minor third. So we're up to G, right? So it has a major third. Now you know a major third because it's 2 tones, and that's why I've included this table here. So if you're new to this, to seeing this for the first time, you'll come up and you go, oh, it's 2 tones is a third, and you're on G, so there's 2 tones, 1 tone, 2 tones, right? And I've put an explanation of what a tone and a semitone is in here, right? But you can always go back and watch lesson 2 to give you a heads up, and that will help you with these lessons, okay? But at the moment, you're just learning to play this, but you're learning chords as well, so you're starting chords as well. What I don't want you to do is read this, right? I don't want you to concentrate on reading this. You need to not focus on getting timing exactly right. The timing will come in time. It's going to slow you down if you're trying to get too many things going at once. You've just got to make sure get the understanding going, and it'll help you remember what you're doing. So we're on G, so back here. We're on G. So your thumb now is on the 1, right? And we're using our index finger, so because we're not moving the position of our hands for this exercise, right? And now we're on C. We've chosen C, right? We'll go back and have a look why we've chosen C. Well, we're going from that bass note C and E, right? And we're on a third, and it starts on a third, right? So that's very, very defining there as a C chord, and it goes up to the 5th, right? So it's got and on the bass we got a 1 and a 3, okay, on the bass there. So we come up there. So your pinky's on 1 on the bass. Let's highlight that. So we're still our hands, thumb on C, pinky on C down here. It's not moving, right? We've got 3, 4, 5, 3. Right? And the bass is going. So you can practice these slowly. And you can practice these as little chunks too. Right? You don't have to play them in order even. Right? When you're playing the piece, you're going to play them in order, but you're trying to recognise. So you're going to look down, right, and you're going to go, there's a 3. Yeah, I see where the 3 is. 1, 2, 3 on C. 1, 2, 3, right? And I know it's a major third because it's got 2 tones. if you're really keen and you go watch video 2, I have a video on how to construct chords. I think video 17, I believe. How to construct chords very quickly, how to find all the intervals very quickly, you all start with a fifth. So there's a lot of videos you can have a look at, but I think you can get through this lesson without going to see those. I think you can. I need feedback from students, so I need to get people to start writing in the comments so I can improve these lessons to cater for you. But I need communication because it's pretty difficult without the communication. 3, 4, 5, 3, and then on the last one we've chosen D minor, right? But if you notice where it's coming down to, right? So we're looking here now. So let's see why we chose this chord and what this is. This is a slash chord, meaning D minor, but instead of putting the D at the base, we're putting a different note. And in this case, we're putting a G, which isn't even a note in the chord, but that doesn't matter. G, you can put any note as a slash chord, right? But we're putting G in, right? Because if we come up here, we can see it's the note G, all right? And what we're doing is we're just rolling down like that. So if we come back here, we can see here, we're rolling down, right, with our thumb on the 4. So there's our thumb on G, right, which happens to be the 4th interval of D minor. Now, I could have chosen G, I could have chosen G, right, to come down, and then it would have been different intervals on the right hand. But I chose this to show you what a slash chord is and introduce, but I've got more slash chords here anyway. So the D minor, I like the sad sound of the D minor. Now the reason you choose the chords, right, is that you want to get that sound and the feeling of the mode you're playing. Right? So we're starting on C, G. I'm just improvising at the moment now. See the sadness there? The G. Now if I chose, that's D minor, sorry, D minor. If I chose G, you wouldn't have that sadness. It'll still be an uplifting, you know. So where am I? And then, see? So then I could be, keep it higher, you know, keep the emotion higher. So you choose your chord to give you some emotional feeling for what you're playing, right? So I chose D for that feeling, because even though that feeling might not come out because there's not enough notes being played, right? It's quite ambiguous. There's just these notes here, right? So, but these notes do go over the chord D on the left hand. We've got a third there, right? So that's why I chose D minor. So all right, let's keep it going. So, all right, so what do we have here? This is pretty much the right hand is the same. So the second phrase, the right hand's the same as the first hand, except when we get here, we resolve it down to the 1 on the C, right? So on the second hand, and then come down to there, right? So, but I've shown you here a slash chord, so it is still it's still C. Now you don't have to stress about these slash chords because they're not that important. They change the character a little bit by putting a different bass note, right? The actual character's not changed on this one because the bass note is within the key. It's the note E. If I wanted to add extra character to that chord, I would add another note not in the key, sorry, in that chord. It's a note in the chord. I'd add another note. I'd add a second. They're using that bass note down here, right? So it's your hands are still here for here. So your third note is on middle finger's on the third interval, right? Middle finger's on the third interval here. And then your pinky's on the 1. Right? So on the first line up here, you can see we just held that down for the entire bar. Now we're starting on the 3 and then going down to the 1 here, right? So that there is a slash chord, right? We have E at the bass. Now, again, we didn't have to have E at the bass. It's not going to make a huge difference. And considering that E is also a note inside the chord, it would make more of a difference if it was another note outside the chord. Right? It'll stand out more. So having that as a slash chord and even showing slash E, you can just get rid of that. That's optional, right? But I'm just introducing you to the idea. So now on the second one, I didn't choose G, right? I choose D minor over F. So why did I choose that? Well, if you look here, if you look up here, right, we're using the G, but here we're on an F. And it goes to the D, right? F and D. So by choosing D minor, and again you get that sad emotional sound there as well, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're going to keep our fingers on the position. So, and we're looking down there. We're on our index finger, and we're on the. Sorry, that's a ring. So we're starting on the F, which C D minor, which is the minor third. How do we find a minor third? Well, it's a tone and a half. We have a look at the table here, and you see that it's a tone and a half, a minor third, right? So. Where are we? We're here. Let me highlight that. We're here. Right? So, 1, 2, 3, 1, right? So if we're looking here, we've got D minor and we've got E at the bass, F at the bass. F is a note within the chord, right? So we didn't even need to put that slash chord really there. Sorry, I've got an ant running on my screen. We didn't need to put the F there. We could have just said D minor, right? But it would have worked. D minor would have worked. So and C would have worked without here as well. We could have just went. So it would have been sadder rather than being happier if we chose G, right? But we chose that because we've got that F down there. This makes it sad, even because that interval is a third, minor third, right? And we're starting on that minor third. It makes it a little sadder. So the D minor works there. And we're happy again now on the sort of happier, again on the G, a little bit happier. And we're going. But if you look now, let's have a look at the G, right? So we're on our pinky, on the bass, we're on our pinky 1 and our middle 1. That doesn't make sense. That should be, that's an error there. Oh, that's just 1 and 1. That's just, we're here, we've chosen G, right? So we've got G up here, which is our thumb on 1. No, that's right. So that there's wrong. That should be your thumb, right? That should be M. I won't change it now. I'll do that later, right? So that should be P for your thumb right there, right? I'll fix that up. To get to this, you go to my website and I've got a link in the description which will take you here, and I'll fix that little thing up. But all right. So what do we got here? We got G. Let's have a look at G. So your fingers are. Remember, all your fingers are on the same thing here. Now middle, right? Right. So what note's that? Have a look at this note. Where's the chord G? The chord G is there, right? So this is a fifth, right? I got a video on how to find all the fifths quickly. That's a fifth. I know that's a six because a six is a tone up from a fifth. I know that's a six. Now you can go and count the intervals and look at the table to see that that's a six, but that's too slow in real time. But if you find your fifths quickly, you know that a six is just a tone up. So if that's a six, right, that's a one up there. That's a -7. A -7 is a tone down from a first, right? So that's a -7 there. So the melody here, right, is we're here, right, with our fingers, right, is going 6 -7 1 back to the 6, and there's G, right? So it's actually on a 6. It's sounding on a 6. And then it does 3 5 1. Now that we have it, and I think you can work that one out. Now that we have it like in chords, right? And you can even start to improvise. Now, you can even start to ignore these, and you don't have to be 100% strict on the bass line too. Because what's most important, right, is now that we have the chord and we've chosen a bass, right, and now that we have in the melody, that's what's the really important. Imagine doing your exam and going, oh, I think they should have done this. So now when you're starting to improvise, you can start to, now that you have it here in chords and intervals, now you're not trying to get something right. The worst thing, the thing that slows you down is trying to get things right in when you're trying to learn, trying to get things right. It's a bit like that. I don't know if you've seen the movie Star Wars. I think everyone's seen Star Wars, but if you haven't seen it, and he's trying to concentrate right at the end to shoot in the to blow up the Death Star, and he's trying too hard. He's trying to concentrate too hard. I see this is like timing. You're trying to get timing right and trying to look and try to get every note correct to the timing. And then he hears the voice, use the force, right? It's like switch off a bit, Sometimes when you think too hard, it slows you down. And so the concept of this whole course is to take away some visual crutches, right? So there's no timing information in here. There's no note direction because your ear can be able to hear those intervals, right? A 1 could mean a 1 up here, could mean a 1. If we're on C or 1, a 3 could be this 3, could be that 3. It doesn't tell you which 3 it is, but your ear hears the melody. And then G. And then there's... So so the first thing you can do is ignore the slash chords and get used to playing it with the bass notes for the chord, right? So that will be the first thing you do. So you start playing it and start getting used to the intervals and looking down 1, 2, 3, 1, 5, 6, 7, 5. So you've got to know your intervals very well. So my lesson videos would show you how to learn them, right? And then we've got the D1, and now once you get used to putting that, so here, right? So here, once you get used to putting that D down, you can start to look at that G note. You can start focusing on that G. So the next time you come around, right? You can hit that G instead of the D. Yeah? And then you could, because you hit G, you could, and you're still in the chord D minor, right? We've chosen D minor as the chord, but you've hit G, right? You can improvise with the D minor. But you could also improvise with the chord G when you land there as well. We're starting on a G. So you've got a few options when you have slash chords with different basses, because the sound is starting to get a bit ambiguous. So it's very defining. If I press the chord C with a root note C, right, and especially if I put the third in there, we can see that that's a major triad. If I put E as the bass now, you can see that if we have E as the bass, and this now here, the fifth up here, we could be hinting to the chord E minor now, right? We've got a C up here. That could be just the +5 of E minor, right? A +5 is up here, right, which is 4 tones. So you're hinting at another chord, and that's why it starts to become ambiguous. But it gives you a bit more power, because now you can make the song go in different directions. You have a bit more choices, and it'll flow nicely, right? Because they're very close, depending on what you choose as your bass note. If it's in the chord itself, it's going to flow quite nicely, right? But if it's another note, right, it's going to be a bit more dissonant, right? But it could be very beautiful, like major sevenths low are beautiful, you know. Even a 6 low. So the other notes choosing as bass notes, right, can give a whole lot of character to the piece you're trying to write. Now this is pretty advanced stuff for a second grade, first grade, second lesson. And I might tone down the explanations maybe for the next ones, I don't know. But I do need a bit of feedback to sort of, you know, and I'm not sure how many people watch to this point anyway. But we'll leave it at that for now. I think I've explained a lot in this video, and it's going on I don't want it to drag on too long. All right, well, I'll see you in the next video, next exercise. So there's about 80 exercises in this book, and I don't know how far I'm going to get, and it's all going to depend on the popularity of these videos. So if more people want this type of material, I'll make more videos of the beginners courses. So I'll just flow off. I've got a few series, and I've got a composition series coming up, another new series. So I've got about 6 series on my website. And these are just patterns you can practice to get your fingers moving. Right? It's very similar to what we've done here. So basically, it's the same pattern, not the same as this exercise. This exercise does this, and this does this. But these are just exercises you can get your fingers moving, and you can do them together too. But that's so when you do it together, it becomes symmetrical. These exercises are good from the John Thomas series, because your fingers are going in different directions. Some are going up when some are going down, then they're going up together. So they're going in different directions. So these exercises are pretty good. So and you can have fun with them. You don't have to keep them that boring. Anyway, I think we're done. So I'll see you next lesson. Okay, bye.